Привет, меня зовут Tanya.
And I'm Jason.
And we're from the Board Game Nook. Today we're going to talk about Escape from Stalingrad Z by Marco Pacoda and Raybox Games.
It's a 1-3 player, co-op, survival, post-apocalyptic, story-driven game. No fun.
Let me set this scenario for you. It is 1942. There's Russians, there's Germans in Stalingrad, and we're in the middle of a world war. The little hiccup, which is the whole game, is zombies start to arise. So essentially, instead of killing each other, now it's just about humanity. Nationality does not exist. We're just
common enemy.
Exactly, the common enemy. We're just trying to survive and escape the city, and different scenarios arise as we go along with the story.
Yes. Okay. As Sonia was saying, this game is scenario driven. So as you progress through the game, it's a campaign. Everything carries over, and each scenario, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to read the setup and the flavor text based on the decisions you made.
Yeah. And then in the turn, the initiative phase is pretty important in this game.
Yes. Initiative is the first thing that occurs once the scenario has been set up. And initiative will take place every single round going forward. It's quite simple, but like Tony said, very important. The zombies and the players will roll off, and the higher value gets to decide who goes first. If you're playing solo, zombies will always choose to go first. And if you're playing against the zombie master, they get to make the decision.
Yeah.
There is one small caveat, that being that humans, being intelligent creatures, they get a bonus.
Presumably.
They get a bonus to the initiative roll, which means the zombies always start at a -4, unless scenario dictates otherwise,
Yeah.
or there are leader zombies on the field.
You make terrible decisions, and then you panic, and then, you pay those consequences.
Well, once turn order has been established, whichever side goes first will complete all of their units, followed by the other side going. So if zombies go first, they'll move every single zombie on the field and do all their attacks. And afterwards, the zombie player will then spawn new zombies.
Mm-hmm.
During the character's turn, the players will get to decide which character goes first, and they'll complete everything they need to do.
Which, of course, moving, shooting, finding stuff. Movement, though, I thought was very cool in this game. It's a little different than things I've played before.
Yeah, so in this game, the very first thing that you decide for your character is their movement point allocation. And this is determined by stationary, walking, or running. So you just declare which of those three things you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're stationary, you get 0 movement points. If you're walking, you get 4. And if you're running, you get 8.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Numbers. What it means is that if you're standing still, you can shoot better. Duh, right? Like real life. And if you're running and you're freaking out, you can shoot, but it'll be less accurate.
You'll have
so
a penalty,
cool.
Yes. So there's modifiers based off of that decision that you make. So that's the first decision that you make. Now, that doesn't determine whether you move or attack first, or even if you attack. In fact, you can move, attack, move, or any combination thereof.
Mm-hmm. You also have to turn to face the enemy.
Yes, facing is another important thing, which in many games it's just assumed and is free to do. However, in this game, it costs movement points to turn different directions to see different things. And what you can see will determine what zombies spawn some of the time, or what zombies you're aware of. And then, so after everyone's acted, there's a small cleanup phase, and then you move on to the next round. Generally, each scenario will have different objectives that you need to complete. If you fail to complete the primary objective, you fail. If all your characters die, you fail. If you complete the primary objective, or even the secondary ones, you progress to the next story.
But the decisions you make, are you going to try to escape? Are you going to try to move this way? So
are you going to go to the warehouse to pick up goods, or are you going to go on a bit of a shopping spree? Are you going to rescue the characters, or are you looking for secret weapon caches?
Quite literally, choose your own adventure, which is definitely my jam. You can play this game solo, co-op, or if you're really into punishment, you can have a zombie master, which makes it exponentially more difficult. We played it, of course, together, and I have to say the rule book that Jason was in it, guys. It took a long time to get through this rule book, and then when he and I sat down to play it, technically I guess it was co-op, but the first mission especially was just solo. Like Jason, he was playing through and showing me, okay, so it's initiative first, and then the zombies, they got the roll, and so now we're gonna move, and you gotta right, like it's the tutorial essentially. I didn't really do anything the first scenario.
Well, I mean, you couldn't do anything. There was only one character.
There's one character,
right?
And then we rescued someone else. So that's when it's like, okay, second scenario in. Now we're in co-op, and we went from there. And it ran really, really great. We had a
exactly.
good time.
This game, the rule book took a couple hours to get through because it wasn't an intense rule book, but there's a lot of little rules as you're going through, like certain MPs and modifiers and gun rolls, and
as there always is,
and the iconography, kind of right? Like it. But the thing is with a long rule book, if it's comprehensive and it flows correctly, it just helps the game overall.
Yeah.
And again, when we were playing co-op, it was fantastic that I knew the rules inside and out, because all the main part that Tony could focus on was getting into the narrative and the feel of the game.
Surviving and then killing zombies.
She could immerse herself, and I could help her with the modifiers and be like, okay, like you have 8 movement points to go. And where this game also shined is it had a fantastic player aid, so you could just look over and be like, okay, so if I ran this turn, I have a +2 to hitting, right? Yeah. That sort of thing.
And it's because it's campaign. I mean, we played till we ran out of time. We put it away. We set it up again. It has a very fast setup time.
Extremely fast. You basically flip the page, and you read the scenario setup, and you're
small
good to go.
Small footprint. You can play it in a really small table.
You can take it anywhere, like a hotel or heaven forbid, a hospital. It plays solo great in those circumstances.
Yeah, exactly.
But with our experience with the game, like we played several storybook-driven games, and although with this small caveat, I do love post-apocalyptic games and zombies. It's one of my favorite genres, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but this was my favorite storybook-driven game.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the narrative flavor and the text going forward, and I loved... well,
it had a really great feel of like luck versus logic. I mean, Jason really doesn't like luck at all. He likes to know his numbers.
A little bit.
He likes to know. Yeah, I mean, that's generally what I do. I mean, I'm just kind of whatever floats my boat at the time. But this game was interesting in the sense that you could push your luck. You could say, okay, we're going to go and we're going to do this mission. Or you could say, okay, I feel like we're probably going to get obliterated in the next scenario. So we're going to try to mitigate our luck, and we're going to try to...
Well, you can do a little extra prepping during missions, or some missions were a little more time intensive. Mm-hmm. And of course, as the rounds go on, more and more zombies are spawning. So the longer you stay, the greater opportunity there is to complete secondary objectives, or kill zombies and get experience, which is an integral part of this game.
Yeah, totally.
The more zombies you kill, the more abilities your characters get over time, and you become more powerful, which is a pretty good feeling.
Yeah. But it wasn't very mechanical. Some zombie games, you just move, roll the dice. Zombies, you know exactly what they're going to do every single time because nobody's really controlling them. With this game, you definitely felt immersed in each specific scenario, and you could kind of know what the zombies are doing.
Zombies follow a pattern if there's no one controlling them, right? Like they're gonna generally move towards the closest target, etc., right? And you know that you have they're gonna lock you into combat before they hurt you, so you have like a little bit of spare time to get out of it, or an attack chance before they hurt you. So it becomes a little puzzly. But then the luck of the game also throws a little bit of a wrench into that. For instance,
luck, like, you can hit other characters in this game.
Yes, there is friendly fire. For instance, though characters don't block line of sight, if there is an intervening character or zombie, there is a chance that you hit them rather than your intended target.
But you can also do covering fire, right? Or trying to cover your other teammate player.
Well, covering fire is one of the best concepts of this game that I super enjoyed, because covering fire, you basically say, okay, so I'm going to forego my attack this turn, and I will wait to use it on the subsequent round. And during the subsequent round, it can be used at any time. It can be used during the initiative phase. So you find out, oh crap, the zombies are going before me. You can do your covering fire then. Or you can do your covering fire when the zombies move in. It also lets you set up sort of wombo combos where like if a zombie is stunned, you get a huge minus modifier to you hitting it subsequently, right? Yeah. You want to do to kill a zombie, you can stun them or kill them outright, but killing them outright can be challenging. You need a high roll generally. If they're stunned, it brings the modifier down by 3, which means a lower roll. So a greater chance of actually killing the zombie and getting that experience. So you can have one character do their attack to stun the zombie, and then you can set up your covering fire. So when they move in, you can kill them on their turn. So you don't waste your next turn. It's a very interesting mechanism when you use it and how you use it. And I feel like it can really dictate whether you do well in a mission or whether you're just trying to flee because you're taking too much damage.
And that coupled with, I mean, like, again, you're right in the meat of it, right? You're very, very integrated in it. And what really adds to that is the components of this game. The components, I mean, they can be tokens. We didn't use the tokens. We actually used these cool miniatures, which were very, very, they're beautiful.
Yes, the miniatures are definitely board game-esque quality. Yeah, they're not going to be like a tabletop miniature game quality, but they're hardy plastic, and they do add a little bit to being immersed in the game.
Because, of course, you can choose from different characters. I mean, this is scenarios, this is a storybook game. You can go through many, many, many different versions of this, many different board game nights. I mean, I played Algier, I don't know. God, I'm butchering the Russian.
It's a terrible, she got it completely wrong.
I don't care. He had a shovel, you guys, okay? I didn't want to shoot. I didn't want to be facing. I didn't have to worry about that. I had a shovel. I was like chopping zombies down left, right, and center, just twacking them over the head with my shovel. I had a great time with this character specifically, and that was just one.
She likes to just run in and beat them up, and it does have a nice reward versus what's it called? Reward versus punishment. In that, sure, like I felt that melee was much easier to kill zombies with because you had lower modifiers, and if your character was proficient in a shovel, for instance, a much easier job of taking them down. Whereas guns, you could get them from range, but the modifier was higher, and there was always the chance of hitting a teammate or.
Don't give me a gun. All right.
or missing completely. And every time you shot your gun, there was a chance you used ammunition and you could run out, right? So I thought melee was great, but then again, you also had to be very close to the zombies so they could lock you into combat, and you were taking a greater chance of getting wounded.
Yes.
Another sort of fun thing was, which I just was like, oh, please don't do it, was Tanya throwing her grenades. I don't know how this happened, but every time she just seemed to pick up the grenades and would just whip them. Just, oh, here's a grenade. Woo! Right?
Friendly fire.
And grenades, it's cool. You can bounce them around corners in this game, so you don't have to have direct line of sight. But again, if you threw a grenade without seeing your target, an increased modifier. Or the further you throw it, an increased modifier, which meant that there was a greater chance of blowing up your friends and teammates.
Life is luck sometimes. Well, I don't know what to tell you. All right. Regardless, all of these components all integrated into one made for a very pleasurable board game night with the different scenarios.
Yeah, it was quite fun. We played about, I believe there are 46 scenarios, and of them, you might experience half of them per playthrough if you complete it. And with all the different choices, there's a lot of replayability because you can go back. Of course, you can just retry scenarios. No one's going to punish you.
Yep.
I am a bit of a glut for punishment, so I made Tanya and I play it with no second chances. We went in cold, and if we died, we died, and no replay. So we just had to start back over. So doing that, we played, I think it was around 8 scenarios before we were taken out.
Yeah.
And then after that, due to time constraints and that sort of thing, I also wanted to try it out solo. Solo was quite fun. I found it incredibly fast. In fact, during solo plays, I didn't even bother with the miniatures. I just
As a token.
used the tokens,
Yeah.
which the character tokens were great because they could show you your facing. Sometimes it was a little confusing with which way the miniature was pointing, which facing you were at, so you didn't know your line of sight, and you had to think about it. With the tokens, it's just color coordinated, so you always knew, and it just made the game very simple, and I could bring it out, set it up in like 2 minutes.
Yeah. And you're flipping through scenarios like, I don't know, probably every 15?
Yeah, I got quite addicted. And, and there is something to be said about co-op games where you make the decisions together and one player controls a character, and you can tell them, I don't think you should do that, and Tanya can run in and kill zombies regardless of what you say. Or solo, you just like move your characters out quickly and you just do it yourself
and try and just run through and survive the night.
And so I was able to get through many scenarios very quickly. I mean, the game does say around 40 minutes per scenario, but the earlier ones, they were 5 minutes once you knew the game. And the medium ones were maybe 10. So, and at solo, they were even shorter because I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So the game played, I loved playing it solo. Let me be frank. Again,
you tell.
the small footprint meant that I could bring it anywhere. Like the box itself, like it's a tiny box. It can fit into anything. And the setup again is just, you turn the page. This is the whole game board, and this is the scenario setup. So, I have to say,
we liked it.
I did like it. I didn't make it on my solo playthrough. I made it further, but still ended up a few bad rolls, maybe a couple bad decisions. I was close. It is interesting. I just want to mention this. Like, you do have a general idea of what the zombies do, but there are different zombies, and the bosses.
Yeah, the boss zombies.
They
change
evolve.
The scenarios. Yeah, they evolve you do.
Over time. So it now knowing what I do, I think I could make it further. Is what I'm trying to say. And I think I'll play it again because there are quite a few different characters to choose from and rescue, and you do get attached to your characters.
Yeah. Your characters, and like I said, the zombies as well. So it's not just the same zombies all the time. You have different zombies come up and they evolve, and that changes with whatever.
And when your character dies, it hurts you. You're like, oh no, and you might have a different character to play.
Yeah.
But when they die, they come back to life as a zombie.
As a zombie, and then I had to kill Alger, and my shovel. It was. Oh, you guys.
And if you don't kill them in that particular scenario, they follow you.
Yeah.
They continue to follow you scenario to scenario until you actually put them down. So it is a little like saddening. You make it 12 scenarios in and suddenly you're being chased by your nurse that's kept you alive the last 12 scenarios.
It makes for a better game, and that's what we are saying.
Yes. It was quite good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, obviously, in case you couldn't tell, we did enjoy this game quite a bit. Jason does love post-apocalyptic zombies for sure. He loved this game because of that. Zombies, whatever. You give me something to kill, hit over the head with a shovel, I'm happy. I actually preferred the storytelling part of this game the most. It helped me not to say, okay, here's a designated scenario. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. It actually added to the flavor of the night, and I really appreciated that. We had a really fun time.
Yes, I would definitely recommend this to. I mean, if you like zombie, you can't be afraid of learning rules. That's the first thing.
If you can get through the rule book,
which
is easy but time consuming. Fantastic
game, yes, and you should. And if you're a solo board gamer, I would also recommend this game because
we have recommended it to our friends that like to play solo games. I mean, it was a pleasurable experience, easy to set up, easy to understand.
And there's a lot of game here. There are some solo games that just they're fun, but once you've beaten the challenge, it's sort of over. In this game, again, there's 40 6 scenarios. So there's a lot of gameplay in this small box. So if you're looking for something sort of longer term, or you know, you're going away for work every now and then, this game is perfect for you. It's I really enjoyed it, both co-op and solo. And yeah, I think
Yeah, it was good. It's a da. Is da yes in Russian?
yeah, no,
Yeah.
no. It's,
Listen, it's a yes, okay? It is a yes in every language. We approve.
yes, it was a fun game.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Bye,
Bye
for now. Привет. Меня зовут Tanya.
And I'm Jason.
And we're from the Board Game Nook.
Not the board game
The
Nook.
Board Game Nook.
Board game Nook.
The Board Game Nook. God, I'm so
In
terrible.
Russia, board game Nook you. The general overflow of the